let's start. And people can start joining in as and when they'll join. So, welcome to Know Your Child KYC webinar. I am Deepti, and I am the founder and head counselor of Disha Deepan. I have been an IT professional for past 15 years before I found Disha Deepan 5 years back. Why I founded it because while I was working in IT, I was, it was always at the back of my mind that how to reach out to more people and help them ease their lives. And hence, I founded Disha Deepan, like I said. So before we start, let's concentrate on few things that please keep yourself on mute if you don't have any question. You can also write your questions in the comment box and I'll be I'll try and answer as many questions as possible at the end of the session. Also for interactive things, please raise your hands or just let me know and I'll unmute yourself so that we can discuss things as and when they are required. So before we jump into the parenting and all the stuff about your children, let's talk about Disha Deepan a bit so that you understand that how we help people and have a base for our discussion. So we up till now we have helped more than 15,000 individuals and families as a team within past 5 years. And we are looking forward to reach out to many more fellow beings and help them understand their innate intelligence so that they have the right means to lead their life comfortably. Um, at Disha Deepan, we are committed to help individuals in finding their right answer by discovering pieces of their intelligence. And we use biometric analysis for doing the same. Our solutions are applicable for all age groups, whether they are children or adults. How do we do it? Like I said, we use biometric analysis to analyze our brains. How do we do it is we take the fingerprints and we analyze them so that mapping towards to your brain can be identified. Uh, while doing that, what happens is that the science and technology which is required to do so is called DMIT, which is Dermatoglyphics Multiple Intelligence Test. What it says is that our fingerprint patterns are nerve endpoints of our brain and hence depicts the functioning of the brain. Once we analyze those fingerprints, we can show the potential of the associated brain and the personality of the human being of those brains. The analysis gives complete picture of a person's strengths, improvement areas, what are the characteristics and learning styles of that person, if he or she has any cognitive strengths, if that person is a logical or emotional or a creative personality. And once we know all of that, we can create a strategy and solution specific to that person or that child to help him or her be successful and happy to make their lives easier. So the technology which I'm talking about is a technology which is have been researched from past 200 years by very prominent scientists and have won a Nobel Peace Award also in the forensics department. Now, there are so many people who are doing DMIT tests. Why should you go for our DMIT test? Only thing I have to say here is that when you go for any pathology test, for example, you reach out to the best reliable facility for the same. That's the same case for us. We use 49 kinds of patterns to deliver the analysis for you or your child. Most of the people who are doing DMIT, they are just using 17 to 19 types of fingerprints. But we use 49 and that's the maximum which anybody is using and we are the best in the business. That's what. So what happens when we analyze your patterns, all those 10 patterns of 10 fingers work. We need to figure out how they work harmoniously and how individually also they work. So finding that needs more kind of patterns, more deep depth of study, and more intrinsic factors which cover all those things. And hence, it is best to know those things as with as many as patterns we can study. And the test that it can help kids discover the ways to focus and put efforts into studies and enhance their academic performance. It also helps parents to create a conducive ambience that would be useful for their kids to succeed. Now, who all can benefit from this session? Like I said, parents, all kinds of parents and young adults uh, can benefit from this session. One, parents of standard 8 to standard 12 who are looking for career and stream selection. Another is parents from 2 to 12 years who are looking for guidance on parenting and understanding the cognitive strengths of your children. And also the fresh and undergraduates looking for further guidance. Now let's jump into the main objective of this webinar. So let's talk about child behavior. Um, so what do we understand by child behavior? And when we say, when we tell a child to behave, what do we expect from that child? I would like to know from you all, if you can please write in the chat box that what is the expectation you might have when you say, when you tell a child to behave? Okay, well behaved, disciplined, manners, essentially listen and act when we ask them to do, to not use mobile, okay, to understand the situation. Yeah, definitely. What else? Well behaved. Okay, any more answers? So out of all these, yeah, moral values, of course. So out of all these, what I liked most, soft spoken, okay, obey the elders, yes, yes. So Parama has written to understand this situation. This is exactly what we need to tell when we ask a child to behave him or herself. No, otherwise, what happens is that if we don't provide an explanation behind this phrase "behave yourself," we are confusing the child. We are confusing because behaviors are different for different situations. Behaviors are uh, like if you are in a toy shop, uh, behavior of a child will be very different. The correct behavior of the child will be very different than if you're on a dinner table or if you're in a playground. So he or she behave in a different manner, and the correct manner will be dependent on that circumstance, that situation, that place. So when we say behave yourself, we need to identify and explain the correct behavior for that situation, for that child. Otherwise, what we are doing is we are making child more confused if we won't tell him that or her how to behave. So at this point of time, I would like two volunteers, just to let me know that if you have told a child or your child to behave, and what was the outcome? Did he listen to you? Did she heard what you were trying to say, or you failed? Yeah. Please raise your hands if you would like to answer, and please unmute yourself. We can choose two out of you. I can see one raised hand. I don't know the name of, it says password 123456. Sir, would you like to share your story? Okay, let me share one story. You know, one of my friends and I went to a toy store with her kid, and she just said, like all the kids, he was also demanding things, and she just said, behave yourself. And for the whole outing, the child did not speak, did not eat, did not do anything. He just sat there, and we came back home. Now, was that the behavior which was expected? Was that the behavior which was correct? Was that the behavior which did not put her in the guilt that she did that to her child? You can, if you you guys can write it in the comment box. That was it correct way of handling the situation? Because all the children likes toys, and all the children wants to have toys. But what would have been the right thing to tell our child at that point of time while we were at toy store? Please type in. I'm waiting. As per you, what you think that right behavior could have been from that child and from the mother also? Okay, I guess nobody is answering. So, but we've already discussed that the right, yeah, correct, to listen to her mother and explain, exactly, to explain. That is what the main word over here is, that to explain. We need to explain our children that this is the correct behavior. At a toy store, right in front of toy store, you cannot explain your child that this is the way he or she should behave. This has to be prior. You know that we'll be going to the toy store, so you need to let the child know beforehand. You need to prepare the child beforehand for any situation that at least you know that you will be facing. You can, at home or on the way, you can let them know that okay, we are going to the mall, we'll be passing by a toy store. You can have the toy after the exams, or whatever explanation you think is good enough at that point of time. Or you can say that we'll buy one, and that's it. Whichever is your way of doing it, but you need to explain with that, behave yourself. And after explanation, you can always say behave yourself like I suggested. So, which helps our children behave better, which helps us getting expected results out of our children. Now, what are the common challenges which parents face with the children? Let's talk about first 2 to 12 years of children. Some of the common challenges which I feel are lying, whining, defiance, separation anxiety, sibling rivalry, talking back, and aggressive behavior. Please let me know if you agree, and which one you agree to in the chat box, please. Yeah. So Rashmi is saying whining, lying as well. Okay. Rashmi, how old is your child?
She's 10 years
She's
old.
okay. She's 10 years old. Okay.
Right.
So how do you go about it when she lies or she cries and all for things?
Well, I have a discussion with her. I ask her what could be the reasons why she is crying. More of whining. She
Hmm.
hardly
Hmm.
lies. Yeah. Whines a lot,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sharad is saying talking back and aggressive behavior. Sharad, may I know how old is your child?
17.
Sharad, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Your voice is very low. Could you please come a little bit near to the speaker? Okay, you said 17. And is she a girl or he's a boy? You have a boy. Okay. So teenage and more so going into the puberty. And yeah, lot of things. We'll be talking about teenagers also on the talking back, aggressive behavior, and many more things. And Sharad, by the time if you want to type on how do you tackle your 17-year boy when he doesn't listen to you, because we can't hear you. So if you please type in at times aggressively, okay. And at times silently. Okay, so giving the cold shoulder, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, these are the common techniques we apply, but do we know what is the right technique to apply to one particular child or our child? Or if we have two children, what is the right way to deal with those two children? Can it be same for both the children, or it has to be different? No, all these things we need to figure out here. That is why we are here in this session, to figure out all those things, that how to go about our children, and if we have more than one, then how to do. Oh, you can't hear me? Is that so? Okay, how about now? Okay, okay. You guys can hear me, right? Please. Okay, good. Yeah, so what I was saying is that it is very necessary to figure out what is the right way, the correct way to communicate with our children. Even if they are behaving good or they are behaving bad, there has to be a right way to communicate with each and every child, which can be different for your two children also. No? So let's figure out, while we are into this session, what is the right way for our child. Now, this will be more interesting for Sharad and all other parents who are the parents of teenagers. No, self-esteem and body image, drinking and smoking, stress and depression. Drinking and smoking, just a second, guys, I think. Yeah, drinking and smoking, because either it can be a way to look cool within the peers, or it can be a way to fight stress. Then defined behavior, bullying, cyber addiction. We all know that all of our kids need, they always want either mobiles or iPads or, whatnot. All kinds of devices they need. Alexa, yes, why not? And the major one is the peer pressure. No, it's not only, long gone are those days when the peer pressure was the matter of just the workplace. Right now, it is engulfing our children a lot more than what we think. One, we ourselves are in peer pressure, and then more so, our children also are in peer pressure. So, how to tackle those things? Do you feel all those things? Again, I'm asking the parents of the all ages actually. Some of them are common to all ages. Do you feel any of those with your children? Please type in. And if so, if you would like to share, how do you tackle? Anyone? With patience. Okay. Yes. Counseling. Okay. Friendly approach. Yes. Yes, more so because they are teenagers. So yes, friendly approach is one thing which we need with our children. What else? But can you keep patience all the time? Yeah, we can't. Uh, and Sharad already said that sometimes it's a cold shoulder, sometimes it's again with aggressiveness that we either scold or we sometimes put a hand also on them. Certain limitations, yes, and more so with teenagers because they are young adults and they are looking for more friendship kind of bonding with the parents. So it becomes more essential it becomes more essential to reach out to them in the manner in which they understand. Otherwise we'll lose them to the world, we lose that connectivity with our children. Rashmi is saying cyber addiction by engaging them in activities. Correct. Yes, true. By engaging them in activities. Although, do we know what are the correct activities for our children? Is the question again. That we are thinking the right things, but do we know what is the right thing to do, or do we know how to choose that right thing? What is the activity which should be designed or which should be chosen for your child? Is the question. Though we understand that engaging into activities is the solution, but engaging into right activities is the solution. uh Parama is saying it's always there, friendly approach not always. Correct. We at the end of the day we are parents, we are not friends. We can be we can show friendly behavior, but we cannot be friends. So to balance out between being a parent and being a friend, we need to identify the right way of communicating with our children. And once we identify that, we know, it's half battle done. Uh, and how do we identify that? What is correct? With the innate and inborn qualities of that child, because most of the behaviors come from the inborn, uh, the inborn characteristics of the child. So, and once we know those inborn characteristics, we can identify, we can how to approach our children in a right manner. Some children need hand holding throughout the process of all the things, but some children just need suggestions and they are self-sufficient to finish off the task which you have given or which school has given, or in playground or wherever, or in any exams. They just need some suggestions and they'll be on their own doing it very nicely. But some children, again, they would need help at every step of that process, that now please do this, now this will help you, like that. So identify what is the right communication method for that child, for your child. And once we identify that, it is easier for us to define the path for that child. How to and like I said, DMIT is one technique to know how do we to understand the inborn and innate characteristics, talents, skills, and qualities of our children. Once we know that, it becomes easier for us to define the path for them. So, like I said, identify the causes of the behavior and then change them towards that right behavior. Apply correct communication, apply correct parenting technique which is required for that child, and then it will be easier. You will have a great bond with your child, and you will already be knowing that what are his or her innate strengths and weaknesses, and it will make your life easier and his or her life as well easier to define that how to go about with that child. Now let's talk about parenting. Any one of you would like to volunteer for your story, or if you want to write in the comments that what are the parenting style which you guys had with your parents. By the time you're writing, let me tell you mine. I have been raised in a quite moderately lenient kind of environment. Both of my parents are good people who told us to always speak up for whatever we have in our mind, and then discuss about it. Although the respect for the elders is always one ultimate thing which was required from them. We were also, scolded and beaten for the things which they felt wrong, and sometimes crying was considered, it was considered as a sign of weakness. So yes, crying was not allowed too much in the house. So yeah, that is how I was parented. So if you guys would like to say things on how you were parented, anyone, please.
Yes, I would like to share.
Yeah, please please
Uh,
go ahead.
when we were kids, we were very disciplined. We could not speak anything in front of our parents. We just have to keep our heads down to whatever they say. But now the kids have changed.
Yeah.
The reality is just double the same. That now when we talk to our kids, it's not the same anymore. We get a back answer. We get a reply. We get please go away, such answers which we never got answers, we never gave answers to our parents.
Yeah, correct. Those were the times when parents were allowed to be very strict, and nobody would mind it, that they are being strict, because that's how the parents were conceived at that point of time, that it's okay to be strict all the time. No, it's okay to not show love, in the sense show they love, that is intrinsic thing, but to show it was not the common thing at that point of time when we were kids. And Parama was saying that her parents were lenient and strict, and they were mixed. Yeah, so that is what most of the parents are. I believe that it's a mix, but whether it's a balanced mix or not, that is on us. So how do we, any other person who wants to share their story before we go ahead and
Yeah, hi, this is Rashmi here.
yeah.
Hi. So my parents had a very liberal parenting style. In terms of, they treated, like you said, they did show a lot of friendly behavior.
Yeah.
But we knew that they were not our friends as well.
Right.
Yeah. So my father had a different style and my mom had a different style. So my mom was more into study, and my father was like, no, chill. So
correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and
that was
we
same
were
with
always confused between,
Yeah.
whom to listen to, his mom right or his dad right. And
Correct.
dad's was a very easy way to do because it was more of chilling. Mom's was harder. So
Yeah. Got you. And I can relate to that as well, Rashmi, because girls are fathers' daughters, so they are more lenient to us. Also, what happens is that we have a bond which is for emotional connect, generally for emotional connect we reach out to one parent, and for logical connect we reach out to the other. Let me know if you guys agree to it. Most of the times we have done this with our parents, and I think our children also do the same, that for emotional connect they reach out to one parent, and for logical one they reach out to the other.
Right.
You can say yes, or if you agree, you guys. Yeah. And Rashmi, yes, I heard you agreed.
So there was also a lot of sibling rivalry. I have two younger brothers, and I remember that I always used to think my mom, because I'm a girl and she used to make me do all this house job, and though she did make the guys also do a lot of it, but even
correct.
today at the age of 45, I still tell her that, you know, you always cite them more than me.
Yeah. Yeah, we
We're
learn
just
things
1 year
when
apart.
we have to learn things. We don't learn things if we just get past them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Parma was saying that okay, her mother is more lenient than the father. So yes, so yeah. So one of the parent, we feel always that one of the parent is more lenient than the other. And you know what? That the common thing is that the lenient parent, we go out for the logical reasoning because we know that we can pass them through. We can pass through them and get our things done. And the harder parent, we go for sometimes, most of the times it can be one parent only, but sometimes for the harder parent, we go for the emotional connect, even though it doesn't sound right. But with the harder parent, we go for the emotional connect because we know that they are hard because they are soft inside. So yeah, when we reach out to our parents, we define boundaries for those. And when we define boundaries, we adapt to those styles which our parents have, which they also may have borrowed from their parents. Now, so the most common style which happens like we just discussed is we apply those things which our parents have applied towards us, generally with our children. So what we do is that apply those things which we liked of our parents and avoid those things which didn't work for us. Most of the times we do that. Let me know if you agree or disagree on this thought that we have acquired few things from our parents which we apply to our children without knowing whether they are correct or not for our children.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah. Sharad, it's saying true. So yeah, because we have adapted to those things, and Parama is also saying yes, and Rashmi just said so. Because we have adapted to those environments, we are adapted to those styles. We and in our minds we think that this is the right style. That's why we adapt those things. We apply those things on our children, but we still don't know whether those are the right things to apply on our children. They may be right for us, they may be right for our parents, but like we are not our parents, our kids are not us. There can be a very separate, very different style of parenting which may or should be used for your child, which is not what you have been. You may not even be knowing that this is the style of your child. Second most common parenting style is rat race. We all know what that is. My colleagues' children are going there. My child will also go there. My colleagues, all of the friends of all of his friends are going into this direction. Let's also, because this is near, because this is convenience, let us also send our child to this activity or this class or this school. Let me know if you agree to this thing, that or maybe because you think that this will make them earn money better. That's why you put your kids into those things, which may or may not be right for them. But rat race is one thing which we have identified as one common parenting style among, at least among all the Indian parents, that uh, we like our convenience, we like our friends. Those two factors make it more visible in these styles of parenting. That so I'm just still waiting for answers that whether you agree on that or not. That at some or the other point of the time we become part of that rat race. Agreed. Okay. Sharad is saying agreed. Anyone else who wants to talk about it or share your experience or your children's experience, if they have complaint about anything? Parma is saying agreed. Okay. Okay. So, and the third one is guesswork. This is the most common thing which we apply as a parenting style. Most of the times, we don't have enough time to spend with the kids because of the work nature, because of the nuclear families, because of any kind of environmental factors or external factors, that we don't have enough time to spend with the child. And even if we are spending time with the child, then also it sometimes gets missed that what is the innate characteristics of our child, what are the inborn abilities of our child, how he or she is naturally inclined. If we don't know that, then all we do is guesswork, which includes two of the above things also, and which includes other factors also, which we take from the society. Now let's talk about how this guesswork affects the parenting, schooling, careers, and even the passion areas of our children. So when we talk about parenting, like I just said, most parents fail to identify identify and build the true potential of their child because they have no clue about their child's mindset, mental abilities, and learning nature. Why so? Because, like I said, either we don't have time, or if we have time, we still are figuring out, or we are new parents, that's why we don't understand. Even if we are old parents, then also certain times it becomes, because the child's nature is very different from our nature, it becomes difficult for us to identify that how a child should behave and how we should behave with that child. Now let's talk about schooling. Schools fail to make every child a performer because they can't address unique learning needs of every child. What works for one child may not work for others. For careers, most people fail to build great careers because of guesswork, which, while selecting a stream or while making a career choice, this is the most important decision, one of the most important decisions of your life, entire journey. And if you take it on guesswork, then more or less you're bound to fail. Sorry to say that, but I have to, and that's what we put our children also through. That okay, marks are good, let's put her or him into that. All those criterias which we consider as the important things may not be the important things to identify the career choices. They are really biased for most of the parents in India, at least. Now let's talk about the passion. Most of most of the parents again put their children, like we were just discussing, that on our convenience basis, on our friends' children's basis, on what is right now trendy, we put our kids into those things. We don't identify correctly sometimes that what is the correct passion area of your child. If you do guesswork, you may fail. If you fail, the child can build anxieties, the child can bear fear. They may not want to try those things which are really their passion areas, which if they explore may become, they may become great in that. So guesswork is one thing which affects all the areas of life, especially for our children. So what is the current parenting style? All of this discussion was towards telling you all, letting you all know that correct style is parenting based on your and your child's innate characteristics. How you should bond with your child. What are your characteristics? What are your child's characteristics? Identify them. then create a bond based on the common characteristics of both of you. Create a bond where you think that your child understands you and you understand your child. Those characteristics can be identified through us as well, and if you can identify by yourselves, then also it's really great. But I would suggest that if you want to be 100% sure, please do reach out. Now let's talk about human mindset a little bit. You may already be knowing that our mind is divided into three major parts: conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. What conscious is, only the 10% of our mind. Subconscious and unconscious is comprised of rest of the 90%. Now, the conscious is what can be called as our acquired intelligence, which we learn from the life, which our children learn from the life. The subconscious and unconscious are the innate intelligence, which we are born with, which we have since we were in our mother's womb. So that is our innate intelligence. That is what is the major part of our brain, of our mind. Now, if we want to, let's depict in terms of an iceberg. So what we see of an iceberg is just the tip of it, which is the revealing part, which is just the 10%, which represent the conscious mind. And rest of the iceberg, which is underwater, is our subconscious and unconscious mind, which we unseal, which we don't show, but which is the bigger part of it, which is the 90% part of our brain. But unfortunately, what happens is that the world has been taking decisions based on the tip of the iceberg. We always take our decisions on what we have learned up till that point of time in our life. Because I know this, because I have knowledge about it, I can do it, or I'll take decisions as per this. We forget that we have an innate intelligence also. So when we evaluate just what we have learned in our lives without considering what are our core competencies and core limitations. Same with our child. We don't know what is his or her core competencies and core limitations. End of the day, when you are in a difficult situation, like I said, our natural abilities and innate qualities are the ones which are going to make a difference, and not necessarily the acquired intelligence. Acquired intelligence makes it helps in making important decisions, but if it is applied along with, in conjunction with our innate intelligence, then it makes a real difference. It makes you successful. It makes you go towards an easy journey of life. That is the same with your children. So now, because we are talking about children, how to boost their confidence. How do we learn about it? To boost their confidence and get them rid of their anxieties and shyness. Most of the parents have this issue that at least 50% of them, that their child is not confident enough to either publicly speak or even express his or her views clearly. Please let me know if you want to speak about your child at this point of time, or if you think that this is any of your friends or any relatives have this concern with their child, that the child is very shy, very anxious, starts crying before any performance, starts crying before any new thing is about to happen. Anything which any of you would like to share? No? Okay. So see, like I said, knowing innate qualities and then working towards those qualities to make your child confident is one thing. But if you have more than one children, then it's more important for you to identify the styles of those children. No two children or no two human beings are same. They all are unique. They all have their own talents. So the parenting style, the communication style also cannot be same for either of them. You will have to apply one style for one, another style for another. Like we just discussed that we need to apply communication style based on the circumstances. We need to apply this communication based on the child also. That one child can be aggressive, one child can be shy. One child can be very confident, overconfident. One child can be like dealing with stress. So there are different parenting styles for each and every child to hone their skills, to hone their talents, especially the inborn talents. Uh, Ashok is saying, yes, my daughter is good in all, but she hesitates to speak out in public, like shy. Correct. Yeah. So, and behind every behavior, there is a cause. We need to identify that cause, and then public speaking, like public speaking is one example, which Ashok has shared. So every behavior has one cause. This cause, if identified, you have already won the half of the battle as a parent. Once you've won that battle, your child, you will thrive your child towards success. You will thrive your child towards an easy life. He can be a success story. You can be a happy parent. So yes, we need to identify the correct behaviors and the causes towards the causes behind those behaviors. Now let's talk about likes and natural abilities and the passion areas of our children. Do we know what are they? Are you 100% sure that because I know parents who when I talk to or speak with, they say, yeah, she likes water, so I think she'll be good at swimming. Or he likes to pose always, he likes to dress up, so I think he'll be very good at photography. So any experiences you guys have of that nature, that you have guessworked the likes and natural abilities of your children? Please let me know that from the behaviors which your child is showing, or from the likes which your child is showing, there is nothing wrong in that. I'm not saying that it is wrong. I'm just saying, please let me know your experiences, that how did you identify the likes or dislikes for that matter of your child?
So, hi, Rashmi here again.
Yeah. Yeah,
Rashmi. I think, how I have identified some of the likes and dislikes is when I ask them to do something and they openly say that, no, this is something that they are not interested in. For example, my brother and I mean, my brother especially insists that they should have some physical activity, and we put them in a swimming class, and they clearly don't like it. So they would rather sit and maybe read a book or listen to music or draw something than do a lot of physical activity. So it's a lot of stress for them also when we insist that they do some physical activity. So
right. Okay.
Be more passionate about reading or maybe even drawing, things like that, which is more serene. But then everybody kind of pushes that they should have some physical activity, blah blah blah. So, and that's a constant struggle.
Yeah. So good Rashmi, that you brought that point, because see, some kids are prone towards kinesthetic activities. Some kids are more visual learners. Some kids are more auditory learners. If we, and again, you put them into, like you just said, you put them into swimming class. I'm just taking your example because you graciously shared your story. So
thank you.
we put them, you put in them into the swimming class. No, thinking that they might like it, but they did not. That's what we do. We think that we know our children, and we try our best to get them into the activities which we feel that they'll be interested in. Sometimes they tell us that they are interested, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they tell us after we have already chosen for them, sometimes they tell us before we have chosen them. If they have told before we have chosen anything for them, a few things it will save for us and our children. One for us is time. Second is obviously money, which we have spent. Third is all the efforts which we have, sometimes it's after one class, sometimes it's after 3, sometimes it's after 10 classes that we get our child dropped from that course, that class, that activity. We have lost money, we have lost time, we have lost energy to convince them that it might be right for them. But is it right for them? How to know that what is right for them? We cannot know any other way. One, by communicating with them. Two, by knowing them through the signs. That's what I always come back to, that we need to know our children to communicate with them, to have right parenting with them, to know their likes and dislikes, to know what is their natural abilities, to know where they are inclined towards, to know how they learn things, like to discover their learning styles and their intelligent questions. We need to know them. We can try and know it. So one is a short thing, how to know your children, which I just said, through their brains. And another is you give them time, you give them enough space, enough bonding to speak with you so that you can know them. So either which ways it is correct. Only thing is that one takes less money, less efforts, less time. Another one is you can do it throughout your life and try and know your child gradually. So whichever makes sense for you, it's your decision. But one gives you 100% surety results in one go. Another is a lifetime job for you, which is also very correct. You can apply that and keep on knowing your child little by little. Now, very important factor, especially for the parents whose children are in school or going or about to go to college or about to choose any career stream. What are the top choosing styles? I again would like you to let me know, what do you think are the top choosing styles which parents apply when they are discussing career choices or academic choices with the children? Anyone, please write in. Or if you would like to share based on our experiences, yes, true.
We also read up, kind of, we also see a lot of internet information available on internet and things like that.
Correct.
Which we can, so
Correct.
I sometimes do that.
Yeah, technology helps us and technology confuses us as well. Both the things. Yeah.
I agree on that one.
Yeah. So yes. Google or internet, and based on our experiences, then Narinder is saying that his mother wanted him to do the MBA from IIM, but did you wanted it, Narinder? Parma is saying that technology, I agree. Yes, woon and curse. Okay, so Narinder did not want to do the MBA from IIM. And what do you do, Narinder? So by the time he's answering, yeah, the software professional. Okay, very nice, very nice. So yeah, so thing is the same thing that either we choose from our experiences, like Sharad said, or we just decide for our children what our aspirations were, basically, or we again see what was working for our relative's child, and then we choose the same thing for uh, for our child. Like two or three of you said internet. Yes, but internet, like we are just discussing that one advice will say one thing, and the right next to that advice will be another advice, which will be talking about altogether a different opposite thing for your child. Uh, so which is correct? This one or that one? It confuses us all the time. Yes, Narendra is saying that yes, we go by that the market and prosperity trend. That what is in the trend, what is going now, what can make the child's life easier by how can he or she make money easily and be successful. Apart from being settled in their marriages, this is one more thing which we think, and it is most important decision of their lives, that how do we select the academic and career choices for them. So out of your answers, these are the few things which I have written. I think you guys can relate to them. One is our aspirations, that I could not become a pilot, so let my child become a pilot. Or I have a family business which I am operating right now, and that is the thing which my child will go into. So we have predetermined things for themselves. Not all the parents, but some of the parents predetermines things for themselves, which makes our lives easier because we have already decided for them, but which might break them into people who are not successful, who are not happy, who are not content within their lives, because they are not going towards their aspirations, they are going towards your aspirations. Now, Sridhara is saying that I told my son to do what you love and love what you do. Yes, that is very good parenting, Sridhara, that you do that. But along with it, what we need to tell our children is that we need to guide them towards that. Yes, do the things which you love, but have enough information about the things which you love, which you think you love. Do you have enough passion towards those things which you like? No, you can like to be a writer, you can like to be an engineer, you can like to be a doctor, you can be anything, or a nurse, or for that matter, blogger or counselor. But do you have enough information towards that career? Do you have enough zeal to go until the end for that career? These are the things which we need to inform as parents to our children, that even if you want to do what you love, do, even for that matter, sports people, yes, why not make a career in sports? But it requires a lot of hard work to become a successful sports person. It requires a lot of hard work to become a scientist. So all those things we need to let our children know, while we are saying you are allowed to do what you love to do. Parama is saying, yes, some of our parents also wanted to go from their aspirations. Correct. So what I couldn't do, let my child do it for me. No, like all those music shows and everything, uh, uh, we tell them that go for it. Uh, Sometimes our children are so small, they don't even know whether that is their aspiration. They have the talent because you might also have that talent, but is it their calling? We don't know. Then second one is marks and guesswork. She's getting good marks in maths, or science. Let's make her an engineer or a doctor. No? Or, this is trendy. This is socially accepted. Like these days, trends are going on for online coding classes. Like Rashmi just said that her children like things which are more indoor activities. But there are certain children who likes activities which are kinesthetically grown, which are outdoors. So if you put those children into coding classes, if they don't have the aptitude for coding, and if they don't have the aptitude to stay indoors for a longer period of time, will that work for them? No, right? It won't. So we need to identify what kind of children we have, what are their talents, what are their characteristics, what are their skills, what are their inborn and natural abilities. And on that, while after knowing that, we need to choose the style of, for anything in their lives, not only careers and academics. We need to choose from what we think our child is capable of. And do you want to again guesswork to know that, or do you want to surely know that, is one thing which we need to decide as a parent. Sridhara is saying my son likes creative work most rather than repetitive. Yeah, so he might have a creative mind, and there'll be other things as well apart from that creative mind. Also, with that creative mind, what kind of things he or she, there are so many things creatively can be done. Like one can draw, one can paint, one can sculpt, one can architect, so many things. And in the drawings also, there are so many kinds of drawings, paintings, which you can adapt. Then some people like calligraphy, some people like all those kind of things. So we need to identify what is the right thing, what is the right choice for our children. How to identify is, we need to know what is the inborn abilities and talents of our children based on their learning style, based on their innate personality, based on their passion areas. Once we know that, we know how to create the path for their success. Once we know, we can create this strategy on how to communicate with them. We can create the timetables for them. If also, do we know whether do they need timetables or not? So even to identify that whether a child need timetable or whether he or she can do their work without using that, they don't need reminders all the time. So there are different children, there are different aspects, there are different styles, and we need to identify them to know what is the right career and right academics for them. With DMIT, what we do is that we identify for you the correct school board career stream and study techniques as per the innate and inborn characteristics of your child. What is right academic solution, which school board, whether it has to be CBSE or ICSE, which career stream it has to be, science or maths or commerce or liberal. Then what kind of study techniques, whether like I was just saying, whether that child is a kinesthetics learner or whether that child is a visual learner or an auditory learner, whether he learns by rhyming or whether he learns by orally, you were telling him and he's learning, or whether you have to mark those things in his books or notes for him to learn. All those techniques, how to identify at which is the right technique to apply for your child for the academics. We help you in that by doing that brain analysis. Like I said, career is one of the most important choices of parents as well as students. So why to waste your time and energy and money and everything by doing the guesswork? Don't do it, is what I always tell all the parents. Save your money, save your time, save your efforts, hit the bullseye in the first go. Get the right kind of career known for your child, and then work towards and put all your energy into working towards that career rather than identifying what is right for them, rather than putting your aspirations on them, rather than doing, saying what is society wise right. uh, I don't know if you guys are comfortable with Hindi, but I want to quote uh, Hindi phrase over here that सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. We always tend to go towards it, like what it means is that we always seek affirmations from the society for us and for our children. All what exactly is needed here is for your child the affirmation from you as per his or her passion area. Please identify that passion area and work towards that. Give affirmations to your child with the correct information about that choice, rather than being, shepherded into the common things which society is demanding us to do. Every child is unique. Every child has his or her own talent. He or she is genius of something. We need to identify what is that. Once we identify that, we can create a better life for that child. We do online career counseling as well if you want to go for it. I'm just letting you know. Let's talk about Dishadeepan again, that how do we help in these things, in parenting, in career choices, and all those things as a parent for you. So again, I would like some responses from you all that what do you think, which direction this boat is going? Please type in the comments. Any guesses? Any at all? Okay, depend on how we look. You can say your view on that, Sridhara. Towards me, okay. Narinder is saying towards me. Okay, any other person who wants to try?
Maybe trying to go against the stream.
Maybe upstream?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sridhara is also saying the upstream. And yeah. So boat is directed towards an upstream direction, which is, yes, against the wind. There'll be definitely difficulties when we are into an upstream boat. Now let's put you and your children in this upstream boat. Let me know what kind of difficulties you think you might face while you are with your children in this upstream boat. Please type in.
Well, all the more difficult because certain things you can take care of yourself, but certain decisions you can't take. We don't know whether we are taking it right for our children. So
correct. But so you are trying to go towards the shore, right? And you have your children with you. You have your family, basically, and you're going towards this upstream boat. So let me help you a little bit. No, so do you even know how to row a boat? Is one difficulty you might face, right? you might have or have not have a compass to know that whether you are going into the correct direction or not, toward the shore or away from the shore is another thing. So if like that, if you think that you can identify a few more difficulties which you might face while going into this upstream boat. Okay, so like, it's a sailed boat. You might not even know what kind of sail is required for this boat, and uh, how to even put that the sail on the boat. Parima is saying difficulty level will get higher. Of course, because it's an upstream boat, you have your children, so emotionally also you are invested, and practically and logically also you need to be invested to get to the shore. So yes, difficulty level is higher from both the angles. Now, where does Disha Deepan comes into picture in this is that we identify the correct direction for you. We hold that compass for you to sail through smoothly to the shore. We let you know what kind of sail is required for your boat, for your children's, because they are with you. So we identify all those things for you. And the technology, like I said, we use is DMIT, which is a fingerprint analysis of your brain. We eliminate that guesswork for you, which nobody, I again emphasize, nobody should do that. Guesswork hampers all kinds of growths, economic, social, national, and personal. Yes, very much. Nobody should do guesswork. It is a major problem across the world. And if you know that we can eliminate, somebody can eliminate, then why not? Please get it and eliminate guesswork from your life, for your children, for yourself, for anybody. No, guesswork should not be a criteria to decide on anything. Like we say, everything in science can be measured. Current in amperes, distance in meters, speed in kilometers, temperature in Celsius, even our blood test reports. What we are applying technology in all spheres of our lives. Where we are not applying it, what we are not measuring right now is the measurement of human mindset and the learning nature. Once we start doing it, we will know the correct paths. We will have the surety that this is what we should go for, this is what our children go for. What we do here at Disha Deepan and how do we do it is we deliver standardized solutions to test, analyze, and build the human mindset, its potentials, its strengths, and of course the inborn skill sets. Once you know all those things, you know how to make your life easier, how to conduct yourself, what to project for your children. Of course, here we are talking, but for you as also as an individual, if you go for it, then it lets you know that what are the projections you should be letting other people know about you, how to show your best to other people, what are your best and strong areas, what are your improvement areas which you can improve on, which you can start working on, what is the correct way to start working on. All those things we identify for you, we create a strategy, and it is a lifetime thing which you need to spend your time and energy on so that you are set for your life. Just few glimpses of our report. It is a 35-page report which I give as part of the counseling. It has the school board for your children, whether which school board is good for that child. It has the stream after standard 10th, that which stream your child should be taking. It also has the career-wise stream selection, whether your child should take sports or designs or education, management, medicine, engineering. all the things as per the aptitude and attitude of your child. Also, it has that what is the learning style of that child, what is the thought pattern balance, whether the mind works on the practical examples or whether the mind works on the theory. So practical is that you do it, you or see someone doing it and learn the actuals from the trial and error method. And theoretical learner is that he analyzes and evaluates from the data and then make the decisions. So what kind of child you have? Then what are the input patterns? How the information goes into the brain? Whether it registers, like I was saying, whether it registers more visually, or whether it registers when your child hears it, or some children focus more when they are listening to music. Some children focus more when they are mobile. Some children focus more when you have highlighted things for them. So what is the right input pattern for your child? We need to identify that, and once we identify, we know that this is how we should make them notes. This is how we should make them revise, learn, give exams. And for other activities also, this is the required thing, that if your child is a kinesthetics learner, then what kind of activities will be good for that child. Then the report also talks about the personality as per the DOPE profiling of the child. So Dr. Gary Coucher introduced a DOPE profile which talks about the bird in terms of the birds of our personalities. Like if you're a dominant one, you're like an eagle. If you're a compliant one, you're like an owl. If you're influential one, you're like a peacock. And if you're a steady one, everyone loves you, you're like a dove. So which kind of personality your child have or you have, and what are the common characteristics of you and your child which you should put together so that you can communicate in the right way to your child. It also talks about these SRW input styles, which are sight, recite, and write. Another way of letting you know that whether it is visual, auditory, or kinesthetics learner. Then it also talks about the intelligence questions, emotional questions, adversary questions, and the creativity question of your child. Now we just spoke so much about the innate skills that we should be knowing skills of our children to boost them towards the right direction. So the report talks about the innate skills of your child, which are their inborn talents, which if honed and nurtured carefully can bring them results, can do wonders. Like some of the examples are whether the child is musically oriented, whether he or she has a language orientation and good memory, if the child has organizational and management qualities, whether he or she is good at logical and planning, whether the creativity and thinking is high, or if he or she has very fine skills to do small, intricate precision works, how rhythmic their movements are. So what are all the innate skills, and what are their percentages in that mind? What are the weightages of those innate skills in that mind, and how we should apply those skills to their best possible way, so that children become aware and you become a successful parent. It also talks about the hobbies and which a child should take, which he or she has more capabilities towards, whether it's sports or designing, dancing, cooking, social activities, any Olympics games, any board games, all kinds of activities, swimming. So what are the right activities for your child? It identifies that for you. Now, we are at the end of the session, and I would just like to, let you know that how we change lives These are some of the testimonials which our clients have shared. I've just highlighted few things out of those testimonials so that you can read, and or otherwise I'll read it for you so that you know that this actually works, and it is 100% sure shot method to know your child and work towards his or her success. So first one is from a mother of a 10-year-old girl. She says your service actually helps in unraveling the mystery that surrounds many parents with regards to their children's career choices. It has many useful tips for the confused and apprehensive parents who put unnecessary pressure on their children, knowingly or unknowingly, like we just discussed throughout this session. The mother of a 13-year-old boy says that just a second, that the guidance I got from the answers from your guidance, I got the answers of many whys of the acts of her son, which are clear to her, and they were very useful tips. The parent of two girls who are from age 13 and age 10 says that commendable experience it was. It is a paradigm shift for me and my wife. The report established the linkage between how to achieve personal and professional mapping and map a pathway towards excellence. So these are real parents who have done the report with us, who have done the counseling with us. It is a one-time, lifetime opportunity. I will always be available if you go for this counseling. It's not that once we have counseled a child, you cannot reach out to me. You always have the access to me, and at any point of life of your child, if you have any queries after the counseling session, yes, please do reach out and know more about your child. In the last, I will just say that get the analysis done today. Why today? Because we didn't know each other yesterday. Today is the earliest we can talk to each other. Today is the earliest we can get this analysis done. What it helps is in letting your child be the success story and you be the lighthouse to many more parents who are confused, who are seeking a right direction for their children. Please be that lighthouse for those parents, and you yourself will be a success story for them. Last slide is just for the fee part. Generally, it is 12,000, but for the attendees of this session, it is 6,000 for next 48 hours. You can do advance booking in 2,000 rupees, not all to be paid in, in one go. And if you change your mind at that point any time and you don't want to go for the counseling, I will refund back your booking amount. I'll not ask any questions. Yeah, that's it for now. And please let me know if you have any more questions, any more doubts, any queries about the counseling, about parenting, about anything which we have discussed in this session. Please let me know. You can speak, you can type, whichever ways you would like to communicate. Fees per child? Yes, sir, fees per child. And there are family packages also. We can talk about them individually if at all you are interested. You have my number with you. Any more queries anyone have? Please let me know. Thank you, Rashmi. Yeah, please do talk with your family members and decide carefully. All I can say is that it works. It has helped many people, like I just said in the beginning of the slides, we have already helped so many parents, so many individuals, and we actually are looking to get it, reach out to more people to help them. Thank you, Rashmi, for attending. I'll wait for a few more minutes if you guys have any queries on anything. Thank you so much everyone for joining, and it was really nice speaking with each and every one of you. Thank you for sharing your personal stories with me. Thank you for sharing your experiences with me. Hoping to help you and your friends and your family in a way which actually works. Then I think these are all the queries we have, and we have already interacting in between these sessions, so people might not have much to ask in the end of the session. So bye bye everyone. You have a nice life, nice day. All the best for whatever you do and whatever you take decisions for your children. A very happy life for your children. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you, Dipti.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Smita.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm ending the meeting now, and yeah, please get in touch if you guys want to know more about it. Thank you so much.